Why?
No, 100.4.
Oh, that's okay. And it's still a little ahead.
I'm just asking, I need to put on feedback.
Okay.
Hi, Geshe, there are some questions in the QA.
Do you wanna ask the questions, Stanley?
Well, Nick, are you there? You want to do it?
I think he's holding Amelie upside down or something.
Okay, I'll start, and then we will use the time. There's an anonymous question from the QA box. Dear Geshe, we learned in this and previous sections in Upala's book, beautiful verses about the third part of the second path. When we stop our negative. Yeah, when we stop our negative rebirth, how can somebody understand they reach this third part of the second path?
You okay, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to answer this first question. We're talking about the path of preparation. It's the second of the 5 paths. Generally, the first of the 5 paths is where you get tired of all the trouble in this life. The third of the 5 paths is where you see emptiness directly. The fourth of the 5 paths is where you use what you saw when you see emptiness directly to stop your anger finally, etc. Bad emotions. And the fifth of the path is not really a path; it's a destination. It's the place you get to through the path. Okay. So the question that the person asked was, the second path. It has 4 parts in it. Supposed to be at the third part, you can no longer take a lower birth. Okay, not possible. And so they asked the question, what's exactly happening on that third part, and why is it different? Okay, and Jorlam Tre Tsemo Supa Chichok. Okay, Jorlam Tre Tsemo Supa Chichok. Tre means warm. Tre Tsemo means peak. Supa means mastery. Chichok means highest state. The fourth one's easy. That's just before you see emptiness directly. It's the highest mental state you can get into without seeing emptiness directly. Now, supposed to be the first 2 parts of the second path relate to understanding the emptiness of objects. And the second 2 parts of the fourth path relate to understanding more the emptiness of subjects. If we talk about the wife in the kitchen, right, then if she understands that the husband is coming from her, we can say she's in one of the first 2 parts of the second path, because she's understanding, she has an intellectual understanding about her husband as an object of her perception. Now, if she goes deeper in the kitchen, which is going to be hard in the kitchen, and she starts to understand that she herself has come from the seeds, which is almost a mind-only appreciation of the subject and the object. Every time you meet another person, or every time you encounter a situation, you are creating both the situation and yourself. Okay, so if you start having more insight into the fact that you put yourself in the kitchen. Okay, now forget the husband, forget talking about who's making him yell, who's making him red color. That came from yelling at the kids. We understand that. But if you go deeper and you say, well, who put me in the kitchen at this moment? What's the seeds for that? then that's called Sapa, mastery. And when you start thinking about that deeply, that's what protects you from a rebirth in the lower realm. Okay, cool. So you can say your pen understanding got so deep that you start to understand the seeds for the person looking at the pen. Okay, and that's deeper, and that protects you from a bad rebirth. Okay, then you can't complain about anything. Every situation, you put yourself there. Okay. All right. Next question, Ning.
It says in mind only, it says foundation consciousness is always there. It looks like that it has its own nature. Sounds quite strange. How do you use mind only to explain emptiness then?
I'm sorry, Nick. I was trying to unpin everything. Hang on just a second. Replace this pin. Okay, I'm sorry. Please repeat the question.
I'll summarize it. It's in mind only. It says that the foundation consciousness is always there, and it sounds like they're asserting that it has its own nature. And how does mind only then explain it? Explain emptiness and for it to be empty? Kind of.
Oh, okay, good. I would say the following. The mind only school would appreciate that both the subject and the object are coming from the same karmic seed, right? Sumdan zumzingi sema ze shengi toa. Okay, emptiness in the mind only school. One version of emptiness in the mind only school is that all subjects and objects are empty of coming from a separate seed. Okay, so if we don't forget that foundation consciousness, when we talk about it, we feel like it's a box. We feel like the refrigerator that's holding the karmic seeds in it. But don't forget that this box can perceive things, okay? That the foundation consciousness is not just a metal box inside your head where you keep all your seeds. It is also aware. And it's aware, for example, of blue. Okay, that's the famous example. It's aware of blue. It's aware of the eye seeing blue. And what's the third thing it's aware of, you guys?
Feeling about the blue?
Of the seeds, okay? So classically, Kunshi is an awareness that's aware of three different things. Number one, blue. Number two, the eye, which is perceiving blue, the eye's sense power. And then thirdly, strangely, they say the seeds. And then the commentary says, well, just by implication, means if you perceive the blue, and if you perceive what's perceiving the blue, then by implication, you are looking at the seeds, even though you're not aware of it, okay? You are watching seeds open, okay? So don't forget that foundation consciousness is also perceiving things, okay? It's also perceiving things. It is also a perceiver, okay? And the emptiness of the mind-only school is when you figure out that mind-only, the kunshi and the things it perceives are both coming from the same karmic seed, okay? Cool. All right, what's next? Who's next, Nick?
All right, I'll read you another one. And then I have given everyone the power of speech, so you guys can chime in. But here's a cool question from Oscar. Can you talk about self-esteem and the importance of self-esteem to achieve an ultimate understanding on how reality works? Thank you.
Yeah, good question. We just finished teaching, me and Nick, actually, we just finished teaching the 12th session of the college, Sedona College, and we were teaching gratitude for 14 days, we're talking about gratitude for 14 days. And we had a game, we played a game during the teacher training we said, let's go through all the different schools, which really you can say there's 6 or 7 schools, okay? You can count Lamrim as a school, Abhidharma, logic, mind only, lower middle way, higher middle way, and then Tantra. You can say 7 basic schools, you know, and we looked at gratitude from all those different schools, okay? We were looking at gratitude from all those different schools. And each school, we went up in the ladder of each different school. The number of things to be grateful for started to expand, okay? So, you know, in the Abhidharma school, you're grateful for Veronica for cooking dinner right now, okay? And that's an object of my perception. Thank you, Veronica, for cooking dinner right now. It smells good. And then when you go up to the logic school, you can make connections that are not visible to the human eye. So I'm grateful to Veronica. I can see her right now. Mainly, I can smell her cooking right now. That's very Abhidharma. Now, if I move up to logic school, the whole point of logic is that with your eyes closed and with your nose closed, you can appreciate, I don't know, the people who made the food that I'm eating tonight, and the people, I know I watched a guy today at the store. He was working so hard to unload a truck full of food, you know? So if I use logic, if I go to the second school, I can use deduction to know that there's lots of people working hard to put the food in the store. Then the number of people I'm grateful to expands, okay? Then if you keep going up in the schools, you can reach a very not proud and not egotistical appreciation of the person who created the store and who created the workers in the store, you know, and that's me, okay? So, and it's not pride, and it's not, you know, selfish. It's a kind of open-minded. If you're open-minded, and if you're very honest, and if you understand karma, then you have to say that you're a pretty cool person. Because every good thing in the world that you see came from you. Everything, okay? And, you know, we like low self-esteem. Oh, you know, I have a stomach ache. I must have hurt somebody in my past life. But if you're honest, you have to take credit for all the good things, okay? If you're not honest, you can just blame yourself for everything, but that's not honest, okay? Honest means I created all the problems in my life. I understand that. I created all the bad people I ever met in my life. I understand that. But if I'm a real Buddhist and I understand, especially the second school of Buddhism, I am forced to admit I'm an amazing person because I created all this cool stuff, even stuff like oxygen in the air and even the blue sky and even the ocean. God damn, I created those things, you know? So if that doesn't give you self-esteem, then you're crazy, okay? If you understand karma, and unless you're very prejudiced against yourself, you have to agree that you created an extremely beautiful world, okay? And that you did that. There's no question you did that. So that should give you some self-esteem. You are unbelievably special person, okay? If you're in the mixed nuts class, then for millions of lifetimes, you helped other people. If you even heard about the mixed nuts class, you helped other people for millions of lifetimes. Even if you don't understand what's going on in the mixed nuts class, even if you fall asleep in the mixed nuts class, even if you're trying to translate Geshe and he talks too fast and he doesn't slow down, still you created all this stuff, you know? So if you can't get self-esteem after that, then I don't know. Then keep your low self-esteem. All right. Who's next, Nick?
Well, here's a slightly more complicated question. We learned on Lamrim 36, in Lamrim 36, that Arhats who reach the fifth path and get to nirvana, as they didn't have bodhicitta. After a while, Buddha wakes them up, and then they get them to the Mahayana path. Where do they then start? Like, are they before the first path, or are the second?
Okay.
That's
a great question. That's a great question. And there's 20 possibilities, okay? And the study of those possibilities is a separate book. It's called Genden Yushu. And there are 20 flow charts, like if you can make a mind map. I'll show you a mind map that I'm working on nowadays. Most of you saw this mind map. I'm working on this mind map. Here's the mind map of, DCI, ACI, ALL, and the mind map for the possibilities of an Arhat is similar. It looks similar, okay? There's 20 different places you can go, okay? So let's say I go through the 5 paths. I reach Arhat on a lower level. I did perceive emptiness directly. The lower middle way school likes to say that Arhats on the lower tracks, Hinayana track, did not see real emptiness, okay? They saw a lower kind of emptiness. The highest middle way school says that's not true at all. If you see emptiness, whether or not you have bodhicitta, that's 100% emptiness. And Tsongkhapa spends a lot of time to prove that, okay? So yeah, those guys did see emptiness. They reached the end of the 5th path on a lower level. They are not interested in bodhicitta, okay? They are not interested in helping all the people in the universe, okay? And by the way, on Saturday, right? We are having Bodhisattva vow ceremony. I'm translating it right now. And yeah, so those guys don't have bodhicitta. They're not interested to help all the people in the universe. So when they move up to the Mahayana track, they have to start at path number 1, because path number 1 is wanting to help all the people in the world, okay? Path number 1. Now, the question somebody's gonna ask Geshe, don't they get credit for seeing emptiness directly? Can't they skip directly to path number 3 on the Mahayana track? Not really, because to get to path number 3, you have to go through path number 1. To go through path number 1, you have to want to achieve enlightenment for all living beings. And they didn't. So when you reach the 5th path on a lower track, you have to go through the 1st path again on the higher track. Okay, you have to start over. That's why the scriptures are very strong. Don't waste your time. Okay, don't waste your time being selfish, because sooner or later you're going to have to go through the 1st, 2nd, 3rd Mahayana path. So don't waste your time. Don't try to work on taking care of other people, because later you're going to have to go back and start over again. It's like you spend 8 years in America, you spend 8 years in the kids' school, then you spend 4 years in the high school, then you spend 4 years in the university. And if you want a higher degree, you spend 6 years more. That's like you have to go back to kindergarten, okay? You spent how many years? 8, 4, 12, 16. You spent about 20 years in the school, and now you have to go back to 1st grade. So I say, don't waste the time, Try to get bodhicitta right away, okay? All right, Nick.
Here's a question from Vivian.
Oh, excuse me, Nick, by the way. Somebody should translate again the Nisha text for us, in our mixed nuts group.
Is it
There
long?
are no, they're very short. They're about 20 pages or something.
Cool.
And somebody should translate one. It's sort of a gap in our repertoire. Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Cool. Here's a question from Vivian. Why do we say that to teach emptiness without an understanding of emptiness could be a serious bad karma? So if we're already teaching, and I guess there's an implication that we don't understand emptiness, Amelie's chiming in. How do we balance the karma? How do we make up for that if we're already teaching and we don't fully understand emptiness?
The classic books say, you are not breaking a vow and you are not making bad karma. If you say to somebody, I'm going to teach you emptiness as much as I understand, If you say, as much as I understand, then you don't break a vow. If you say, look, I don't understand everything. Sometimes when they're talking about emptiness in words, text, even Geshe doesn't understand what they're talking about. Then you can be honest, say, I don't understand everything, but I had some good training. I was lucky. I heard the pen 200 times. I was only asleep during 50 of those times. And I do have some understanding and I can help you. And I know there's deeper places to go about emptiness. Maybe you and me later, we can study more together. So just be honest. And then you don't break a vow. In fact, if you get a chance to teach somebody the two husbands in the kitchen, where you have to teach the emptiness of the husband who's not my fault, and you don't teach it because you don't want to break your vows, I say you made a big mistake. You made a big mistake. Okay, Nick.
Cool. Thank you. Does anybody want to chime in with a question? Because you guys all have the power of speech. Soon.
Even
There's some
Judder
in the
wants to ask.
Q&A, Nick.
Nick,
Oh,
can you translate for Judder? I couldn't get it.
Which one?
Jared.
Can you
Oh,
translate for Judder?
Drew was asking what kind of seeds can shut down the sense power, the mind sense power.
Oh, wow, that's a great question. My answer is this. And I love this. My teacher was very clear. He said the first thing to do when you think about our karmic result is you have to decide whether you like it or you don't like it. So when you're doing, karma detective work, the first thing you have to do is say, do you like this thing or you don't like this thing? That's the first question, okay? If you don't like it, it's a bad karma made it. If you do like it, then a good karma made it. So I would say, if you could reach a place on your couch, meditating, and suddenly you couldn't think of anything, would you like it or you don't like it? I would say I don't like it, okay?
Recent experience, I don't like it.
Veronica's making a pizza. I mean, God, if I stop my mind, I can't eat the pizza, just kidding. Yeah, so the first thing you have to do when you talk about investigating where things come from, what kind of seeds do things come from? The first question you have to ask is, do you like that thing or you don't like that thing? Personally, if you tell me, Geshe, you can shut your mind off, I say, I don't like it. I don't want to, If I want to do that, I will take drugs or something, And so that would be a bad seed, I think. So in the lower schools, stopping your mind is kind of a goal, but in the higher schools, they say, no, you're wasting time. During the time that you are spending in deep meditation with no mind going on, your mother in this life is suffering. I don't care if she died already or she didn't die already. Your mother, right now, each one of us, your mom is suffering. If she's still alive, she's suffering. If she already died, she's suffering, okay? and you want to spend time on the couch, think about nothing, and your mom is being burned by the stove, or your mom is drowning in the water, and you want to sit on the couch and think about nothing, that it's not a good thing, right? Okay, next.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to say, if you guys, a lot of people are writing me to unpin words. There's some kind of malfunction in Zoom right now. It is unpinned, but it's not going away. So if you want to see the whole screen of Geshe Michael, just go to your view and put it on gallery view, please. Okay. So here is one. And I'll try to, Isabel's asking, if cause and effect is empty, also empty, then what kind of situation doesn't it apply to? And she was asking me this last night, and it was kind of also, she was asking me, like, if it's empty, then does that mean it doesn't work sometimes, etc.?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a really, really famous question, actually. Let's take Neil Young's song, okay? If it's empty, then that kind of means some people can like it, and at the same time, somebody else won't like it, okay? That's kind of a sign of empty, right? It can be good or it can be bad, depending on the karma of the listener. So we start to feel that emptiness means things can be completely opposite if people have different seeds, different karmic seeds, okay? We start to feel that's the meaning of emptiness. And then, our friend says, I hate this person. And you say, I like this person. And then they say, oh, that proves the person is empty. Why? Because people with different karma can see different things. That's like the dog and the chew toy and the pen. So we start to feel that the meaning of emptiness is that things can be even opposite at the same time, depending on the seeds of the people listening. And that's not completely correct, okay? That's not completely correct, okay? Some things can always be the same for everybody, and still they are coming from karma, okay? It means there are certain karmas that we had from our past life that we all have. We all have the same karma. And some things in the world, we all have the same karma to see them the same way. And that doesn't mean they are self-existent. It just means we all have the same karma, okay? So there are some kinds of karma that all of us share, like all humans. We have karma to have one head. We are born with one head, two arms, two legs. That doesn't mean human being is not empty. It just means that the karma to be a human being will be similar for all human beings. And there are certain karmas which are the same for all living beings. And that doesn't mean they're not empty, okay? So it's not true that if things are empty, it's not true. If things are empty, there must be a case where somebody sees it differently. That's not true. Things can all be coming from karma. All things can be equally empty. And it's still possible that we all have the seeds to see it the same way. Okay? Cool. Next question. Like the laws of karma. Like the laws of karma.
Yeah.
We will always see them the same way. Yeah.
Okay, we were discussing. Here's a juicy one.
Juicy?
Related, I think. In the story of the two husbands in the kitchen, it says that the husband who is yelling at me is coming from my seeds. His existence was not real. Does that mean that I created him? According to logic, does that mean I was created by someone else?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. All these questions are good.
It goes on to
it's a lot of fun to have all these questions. It's kind of fun to do a Q&A together. We should do it more often.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, the husband in the kitchen was created by me. Does that mean I was also created by somebody else? Okay. If you are the object that somebody else is looking at, yes, you were created from them, but the part of you that you see yourself was created by you. Okay, so all of us, there's an Abhidharma principle, right? Anytime you do a good deed, in the Abhidharma, it's very interesting. Anytime you avoid doing bad deeds and you make good karma, there's two things going on. Number one, you're worried about how other people will think about you if they find out you are doing that thing, okay? And that's a good karma, to worry about what other people will think if they find out you're doing something wrong. That's a very good karma. And to stop doing something wrong in your own room with the door closed, nobody can see you, just because you don't feel happy to be like a bad person. That's also a good karma. Okay, so they say in the Abhidharma, every person has good karma, two kinds. Number one, they don't like other people to find out they're doing bad things. That's a good karma. And they don't like to look in the mirror and say, I'm a bad person. You know, they like themselves to think about themselves that they are a good person. Now, every person, that means every person in the world is the result of two kinds of karma. Number one, yes, other people are creating you from their side. Number two, yes, you are creating yourself from your side. Okay? So yeah, so every person has two parts. One part is created by their own seeds, and one part is created by other people's seeds. Okay, we all have two parts, and that's why we have to be good in two different ways. We have to not hurt other people's feelings when they find out we're doing something bad, and then secondly, we have to not hurt our own opinion when we look in the mirror, because I am coming from two sides. I'm existing from two sides. Yeah, that's correct. Cool. Another question, Nick.
Does anybody want to chime in and ask one?
They're afraid Grandpa will yell at them. I think so.
So there was a question when I did the Q&A, Geshe-la,
Okay.
where someone asked, why is it that Marikpa is neutral?
Aaron and I were just
I hate this question. That's a tough question.
I know. I mean, to me too.
That's a really tough question. I mean, I'll tell you what I would do. You know, let's try. Okay, I don't know if it's gonna work. Okay, sometimes it's good if Geshe-la fails, right? Let's go to Gopher. Okay, here's Gopher, and let's move Geshe-la over here, and let's suppose we want to find out from the scripture. Okay, we're curious. What does the ancient book, what does the Jing say is why is ignorance, which is called Marikpa, misunderstanding, okay? Why is it lungmaten? Okay, mata. Okay, why is it not good karma or bad karma? Why is it karmically neutral? Now, we're gonna search, I don't know, 50,000 books or something, and it's gonna take 2 seconds. And let's keep the search very tight. Okay, let's keep the word misunderstanding must exist next to the word karmically neutral, extremely close. They must be in the same line. Okay, now we're gonna select the books. We're gonna search about, I don't know, 50,000 books written in the last 1,000 years, because they are more precise. The early sutras are not precise. They will not have a discussion like this. the later books are more precise. So you guys are ready? Now you have to say Om Mani Padme Hum, 'cause I don't know, maybe we won't find anything. All right. That's not a good answer. This book, which is written by the main textbook writer of my own monastery, who lived 500 years ago, he says of the 12 links of the Wheel of Life, the first one is misunderstanding. This is, by the way, Sugeng's text, which he already translated. There's special features of misunderstanding is that if you ask me, is it good karma, is it bad karma, or is it neutral karma, I will say, kya, it's always neutral, okay? It's always neutral, okay? Then he says, you want to know why? Double dare tell? I'll tell you why it's always neutral. Because it's not good karma and it's not bad karma.
So why is it not bad karma? That's what I want.
Yeah, we want a better answer than that. But he gives it to us. He says, oh, you guys are wondering why it's not bad karma. I'll tell you why it's not bad karma. Because a Sangha said so.
Ah!
That is good.
No.
And then we say, wait a minute. What did the Sangha say? He says, I'm getting there. I'm telling you, don't worry. I'm not trying to run away from your question. And here's what a Sangha said. When you see emptiness directly and you enter the stream, how many of the 12 links of the Wheel of Life do you get rid of permanently? Okay. How many do you get rid of permanently? The answer is, this is a very famous answer. Tam Cheki Chochik Pabayin. You get rid of one part of all 12 links. Okay. You get rid of one part of all 12 links. But it's not the case that you get rid of any link 100%. Okay, you get rid of some percentage of all the links, but it's not true. You get rid of any whole link. Okay. Don't worry, the answer's coming. Okay, trust this guy. I'm also trusting. Len Chi Chirongwe. Now, if you go higher than seeing emptiness directly, and you destroy so many mental afflictions that you only have to come back to the desire realm one time, okay? Well, how many links does this guy give up? Gyudashipatabu, same as the stream enterer, okay? He does not give up any of the 12 links completely, but he does give up parts of many 12 links, okay? Got it? Then the guy's going to say, well, what about if you're a Chirmyo? What about if you're a person who doesn't have to come back to the desire realm because you destroyed so many mental afflictions? How many links did they get rid of? You get rid of all the links operating in the desire realm. Okay, all 12 of the links which relate to the desire realm, you got rid of them. Why? Because you never have to come back to the desire realm. That's the third. Well, how many links does an Arhat get rid of?
There you go.
Okay. Oh, he gets rid of all 12 links in all three realms. Okay. He gets rid of all 12 links in all three realms. And that's supposed to be an answer. That's supposed to answer the question, how come misunderstanding is neutral and never a bad karma?
Yeah, I don't see the answer.
In the form when you cannot do bad or good, but you have ignorance.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Who said that?
What do you mean you can't do anything? It's a movement
That's
of
a great
the mind.
answer, actually. That's a great answer.
It's not a movement of the mind?
No, listen, the only karma that can take you to the higher two realms is good karma, right? So if
No,
you
should
still
be
have the first link and you stay in one of the higher, you get reborn in one of the higher realms, the first link cannot be bad karma.
That's not so satisfying
Well, okay.
because it's a
Let's
construction.
try another book, okay? You guys have time? It's okay with you guys?
Yeah, I don't
guys
want to take up all the time, or I'm not the only one with the question. There was
Let's
people
spend
asking.
another 5 minutes here. Let's spend
I'm also
another.
interested.
Okay. Here it's an argument. The guy says it can't be karmically neutral. It must be karmically neutral because it's misunderstanding. The implication being that all misunderstanding is karmically neutral. That doesn't help us much. We'll keep going. Okay, here's an answer from Jamya Shepa, who's Choni Lama's teacher. Okay, you ready? Let's consider misunderstanding. It does have that definition because it's always karmically neutral. The other guy says, I disagree. And Choni Lama's teacher says, but that's true because Gewa la topa me Gewa miruweche. I don't know if the first part is spelled wrong or something, but it says it cannot be bad karma. Okay, he says it cannot be bad karma. Got it, you guys?
I understand the words.
Okay. He said this is Jamya Shepa, Choni Lama's teacher. Misunderstanding cannot be bad karma, and the other guy says I disagree, and he says it's true because you can engage in the perfection of giving and still have misunderstanding.
What? Not if it's
you can engage in the perfection of giving and still have misunderstanding. And we had a long discussion in words text that if you can't have in one mind stream bad karma and good karma at the same time. That's one of the reasons why Kunchi Alaya Vijnana has to be neutral, because it has to accommodate good seeds and bad seeds, okay? Here he says, a misunderstanding cannot be a bad karma because you can do a good karma and have it in your mind at the same time.
You could do a partially good karma. You couldn't do it with misunderstanding.
Okay, I propose we leave it at that.
Yeah.
By the way,
Thank
if you guys really want to know, look,
Yeah.
I'll show you something. Oh, there are 33 discussions in John Brady's database, okay? And God bless you guys for helping him, okay? There are 33 different discussions of this question in like 10,000 books. So someday when Grandpa has another question and answer period, we can talk about it again. Okay, Nick, you got another question for me?
Yeah. Somebody asked, an anonymous attendee asked, when you speak about karma, the metaphor of seeds is used to explain pretty much everything. What would a Sautrantika, what would a Sautrantika and a Prasankika say about this approach?
Oh, good. You know, I actually had a vote recently. I was in a class with about 100 really experienced students. This was at the China Soft Power program in Shenzhen. And I said, what do you guys think? You know, should we use the word yeli? Should we use the word karma? Should we use the word zhongzi? Should we say seeds? And then we gave some other words, which I don't remember the Chinese. And 90% voted for seeds. They said when you talk about karma as seeds, it's a lot easier, it's a lot more clear. If you say yeli or something karma, it's not very clear because there are so many hundreds of years of misunderstanding back. So when you say seeds, it's much, much easier, okay? And I agree, okay? Now, if you had Baba Viveka and Chandrakirti in the room with Geshe Michael, grandpa, and I say, hey, Baba Viveka, what do you think about this translation? Can we use seeds? Can we use seeds? And then I asked Chandrakirti, dear, what do you think? Can we use the word seeds? I think they would both say, fine, that's fine, okay? That's okay. But they would have a different opinion about how much of those seeds is coming from me, okay? Where do the laws of karma come from? Where do the laws of karma come from? Where does karma come from? Chandrakirti would say, Geshe, it's 100% your fault, okay? The whole idea of seeds, all the laws of seeds, they're 100% coming from grandpa. Then I say, Baba Viveka, you agree? He says, no, come on. We can only blame you for half, Geshe. Half of the karma is coming from you. And half of the karma is coming from karma. Because look, there's stuff happening in Mexico right now. I'm not there. I didn't make it happen, we can't say you're responsible for everything. But in the higher school, yes, I am responsible for what's happening in Mexico, okay? I did create that in my world, okay? Cool. One more question, Uncle Nick.
All right. Well, Venerable Jigme was following up to a previous question about when we're looking, like when the husband in the kitchen question, one person looking at another, are they creating each other?
Okay, anything else?
Her follow-up question is, isn't there a part of us for every being who has any kind of impression of us?
Oh, yeah, you can say that. You can say that, some schools of Buddhism would say that, and it's probably true, every being in the world is partly the fault of every other being in the world, okay? So part of everyone is coming from everybody else, okay? And I like to call it, people ask me this question a lot. Is the whole world one, Geshe? Are we all one? Are we all the same person? And I say, I don't think so, My arm hurts a lot right now. I got my second vaccination today. It hurts a lot. And you can't feel that. So it's not true that I am you, If you are me, then your arm would hurt tonight. But it doesn't hurt. So you are not, by the way, it's a good hurt. It feels good. I'm happy. I'm grateful, very grateful. But yeah, in that sense, we are not one. But Nick, do you want to teach the donut thing?
Yeah, well,
teach us the donut thing.
In the sense of,
we're going to do the Heart Sutra way, okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a sense in which we are the same, or we are one. And that's like, if I want a donut, the only way for me to really get a donut is to give you a donut, or to give Amelie a donut. And in that sense, her mouth is my mouth. So, and you like to say functionally, our mouths are the same. Like in that sense, we're one, because by interacting with her, I create the experience of myself enjoying something. So in that sense, we are one and the same. Her mouth is my mouth.
Yeah, good. I cannot see a donut. I love donuts. You call them youtiao, call them churro, call them ponchik. I don't care. I love donut. Goes into my mouth, okay? But the only way to get a donut to go into my mouth is if I put a donut into somebody else's mouth. Therefore, your mouth is my mouth, okay? When I put a donut in your mouth, my mouth gets a donut. If I don't put a donut in your mouth, my mouth cannot get a donut. Therefore, we are the same person. So the answer to Venerable Jigme's question is, it's partly true that I'm creating you. And it's partly true that you are creating me. But the deeper truth is we are the same person. Okay? You don't have to think I'm creating you and you're creating me. That's okay. You can think like that. But actually we are the same person. Okay? So there's no you and me. Really, there's no you and me. Okay? When I take care of you, I take care of me. Okay? And I cannot take care of me unless I take care of you. Therefore, no one's creating anybody else. We're all one person, okay? Now, that person wears many shoes, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, Uncle Ning.
Time for bed. Or
My wife told me if I finish this class, I can eat a pizza.
we would not want to detain you from that.
Yeah,
Geshe Michael.
Yeah.
I just looked up in the auto commentary to Entering the Middle Way, and also in the auto commentary to Blaze of Reasoning. So
Okay.
Master Chandrakirti 85 times uses the word sabun, right?
Okay.
And Master Baba Viveka 55 times in his text uses the word sabun. So they both love the word seeds.
Yay, we agree. Okay, thank you guys for supporting the Mixed Nuts. Thank you guys for coming to the Mixed Nuts classes. I believe those are the most important classes I ever teach. I believe if you sit in those classes and even you don't understand 50%, you're gonna go to Buddhahood quickly. I believe that. I really believe that. So it's extremely important. And thank you for supporting it. And thank you, Nick, for working so hard to make it happen. Cool.
Thank you, Geshe. You're the hard worker here. But
Oh, I'm the
thank
pizza
you.
eater.
Now you please go enjoy your pizza and
Okay, good night. See you guys
everybody.
tomorrow.
Thank
Ming
you.
See you
Tian
soon.
Jin. Ming Tian Jin.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Love you. Whiny,
Good night.
whiny. Good night. Good night, Stanley.